The princess who spent her life under the relentless public scrutiny died in a high-speed car accident in Paris, apparently trying to evade the photographers who were pursuing her. There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded, it was said. A lost letter from Princess Diana addressed to Princess Anne was found, and its content could change everything. It is not about her famous fashion, her troubled marriage, or even her tragic final moments. It is something much deeper. This letter, hidden for years, has suddenly appeared, leaving people wondering why it was kept hidden for so long. Did Diana reveal something impactful that the royal family never wanted the world to know? Diana's life in the royal family was not a fairy tale. Behind closed doors, she lived an existence filled with emotional battles, betrayals, and loneliness. While the world saw a beautiful princess with a warm smile, few knew the pain she carried inside. The lost letter, written during some of the most difficult years of her life, has forced people to ask difficult questions. Was it a warning about something she had discovered? A final attempt to reach out to someone before everything fell apart? The possibilities are endless and none of them are comforting. Before revealing the truth, one thing is certain: this letter contains something much more explosive than anyone expected. What it reveals could be the most impactful revelation about the royal family to date. It is no secret that Diana and Princess Anne did not always get along. The princess was known for her straightforward attitude, while the other royal connected with people through emotion and charm. Their different approaches to royal life made them an unlikely pair, but did one see something in the other that made her trust her? The letter itself suggests that, despite their differences, there was an understanding between them, that no one suspected. Now, decades later, the world finally glimpses what was hidden in plain sight. What exactly was said? Something that could trigger a civil war in the United Kingdom. The letter, according to some, contained a desperate warning about the royal family, something that could only be shared with one person. Others believe it was a heart-wrenching confession about a failed marriage, the pressures of being a royal, or something even deeper. Battles were often fought in silence, with letters used to express feelings that could not be shared aloud. If this letter survived, how many more were there? And more importantly, what knowledge was important enough to put in writing? The discovery of this letter has left many questioning the true history behind palace life for years. One figure was painted as a tragic character trapped in an impossible situation, but what if there was more? What if the knowledge extended beyond personal struggles? This was not just a princess, this was someone who saw things no one else saw, and perhaps, just perhaps, this letter was a way to ensure someone else knew it. 2.1 of the most unsettling questions is why the letter was hidden for so long. If it was not meant to be seen, who kept it away from the public and why did it surface now? The timing is suspicious, as if someone wanted this information to come to light at the right moment. But who benefits from this revelation? It is easy to assume that powerful people had reasons to keep it buried. The royal narrative has always been carefully managed, and even in death, challenges to it continue to emerge. This was never just about royalty, it was about influence, about speaking when others were silent, about reaching out when others turned away, and about showing that royalty was not just about duty. A sign of humanity. The ability to connect with people terrified those who wanted to maintain a certain image. The letter, whatever it truly says, is another reminder that playing by the rules was never an option, and perhaps that is exactly why it had to remain hidden for so long. The biggest question is what happens now. Will the full content of the letter ever be revealed, or will it disappear like so many other pieces of this story we have seen before? Whispers of the 1970s, long before the real world experienced its greatest shock, a certain member of the royalty was already making an impact. She did her job, stayed away from the drama, and barely received any recognition for it. However, when the 1980s arrived and a new presence entered the scene, the narrative changed completely. While one member of the royalty worked hard without receiving attention, another was always in the spotlight. What happened next only widened the gap between them. The member of the royalty who was sidelined continued working, attending events 4 times more than the media's favorite, but no one cared. All eyes were on the one capturing the headlines. When a pregnancy was announced, the press could not get enough. Meanwhile, she was on a royal tour in the United States, fulfilling her duty as always. Instead of asking her about her work, reporters bombarded her with questions about someone else. The final blow was that she found out about the birth through the media, not from her own family. When asked about it, her response was direct. She had not been told. The letter that has come to light, even in fragments, is enough to raise serious doubts about what we have been told. This letter shows that there was something that could not be shared with just anyone. Despite past tensions, a member of the royalty was chosen to receive it, which says a lot. Was it because she was out of the public spotlight, less concerned with media attention, or because she was seen as someone who understood the burden of royal life better than anyone? Whatever the reason, this letter connects them in a way no one expected and raises a final, chilling question: if it was necessary to write this, what else was feared? This image became famous not only for its beauty but also for the storm it brought with it. A certain member of the royalty had a way of stealing the spotlight, and that drove some people crazy. The game did not excite her, and she did not pretend to be happy with the way things were. When media pressure urged her to react, she silenced them. Too much fuss over a baby, she would murmur. That was her, straightforward and to the point. However, this moment only highlighted a bigger problem. One royal was adored, and the other was ignored. The tireless worker, who never sought attention, was overshadowed by the glamorous figure who could not avoid it. Whether they liked it or not, the tension was set in stone. This division was not just about attention, it went deeper. When Prince William was born in the early 80s, she should have been a natural choice for godmother. After all, Prince Charles was the godfather of her son, Peter Phillips. But that did not happen. Charles agreed, but the final decision was different, leaving her out. Charles, trying to keep the peace, assured her that she would be the godmother of the next child. However, we all know how royal promises usually go. Fast forward to 1984. Prince Harry was born. She probably thought it was her turn this time. She was wrong again. Instead, the choice was a former flatmate, Carolyn Bartholomew. The reason, a male godparent for a male child. If that sounds like an excuse, many would agree. She was furious and skipped the christening. Diana declined to attend, claiming she had other plans. What was she doing instead? Organizing a hunting party in Gloucestershire at the same time as Harry's christening, making her stance clear. This wasn't just in being petty. She wasn't the only one upset. Charles's father, Prince Philip, wasn't happy either. In fact, he wasn't even speaking to Charles at the time of the christening. The decision to leave and out only deepened the cracks in the royal family. The two women were on completely different paths and weren't about to start walking together anytime soon. Despite the tension, there were surprising similarities between them. Both took charity work seriously. One was known for visiting hospitals and promoting AIDS awareness. In a world dedicated to eliminating landmines, one figure worked tirelessly behind the scenes, focusing on child welfare, health issues, and equestrian sports. Their approaches differed, but their dedication was identical. Their personalities, however, were like fire and ice. Diana was warm, appealing, and knew how to connect with people on a personal level. She broke royal tradition by dressing informally and making direct contact with the public. She was the people's princess because she genuinely cared about ordinary people. On the other hand, Anne was a hard-working pragmatist who saw her role as a duty, not a performance. She didn't feel the need to charm the public, believing that her work should speak for itself. Despite her efforts, the media barely noticed. What really caused the divide between these two women? Was it simply envy? Was it the media pitting them against each other? Or was there something deeper? The truth is, these two were never going to be best friends. One loved attention, the other despised it. One broke the rules, the other followed them. And when you add a title, a crown, and media frenzy to the mix, a real disaster ensued that no one could fix. Being loved by the public could not save a broken marriage, and as things crumbled, the truth became harder to hide. A love story that never had a chance. The idea of being real was turned upside down. Instead of just smiling and waving, there was a new focus on connection. Meanwhile, Anna maintained her pragmatic attitude, focused on her duties. Two women, same royal family, but completely different styles. However, both knew very well that marriage was not the fairy tale the world thought it was. One story was the one the world couldn't stop watching. The seemingly perfect wedding with Prince Charles turned into a disaster that no one could ignore. And, of course, Camilla Parker Bowles was never far from the conversation. As it was once said, there were three people in that marriage. On a completely different level from the start, the warning signs were everywhere. Just 2 weeks before the wedding, something that should never have been seen was discovered, a bracelet in Charles' study. It was not for his fiancée, it had the initials GF, a reference to the nicknames Charles and Camilla had for each other. Imagine the devastating blow that must have been. However, the show had to go on, and the wedding took place anyway, leading directly to a doomed marriage from the start. From day one, Charles felt pushed to the background. He wanted to be the protagonist, but the public had other plans. Everywhere they went, there was only one person the people wanted to see. Thousands of admirers lined up with flowers in hand, desperate for a glimpse of Diana. Charles might as well have been invisible. People even handed him bouquets of flowers, asking him to pass them on.